Hey, I'm Tim from Circuitous Effects, and you're watching Defining Circuit. Defining Circuit is a periodic interview series where I chat with fellow creators in the music world about what inspired and defined their passion for building, the moments, ideas, experiences, and even the circuit that sparked their drive to create for musicians. This time I'm speaking with Erik from Brainia Effects. Erik, thanks for coming on today.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for having me, man.
How about you tell us a little about yourself and how you got into making pedals?
My name is Erik, and I'm the founder of Brainia Effects. And it's kind of a long story, but I'll shorten it for you. Around 2006, I discovered a website called BYOC. And I was a guitar player at the time, and I loved to tinker with my guitars. And I had a soldering iron at the time, too. And so I was doing, kind of fixing stuff on there. And then found the website, and I was like, you can build your own pedal? What? So I ordered a delay pedal kit, got all the tools I needed, and did the whole thing, and is basically soldering by numbers.
Yeah.
And put it together and then fired it up. And the first time I fired it up, it worked.
Oh, man, it's amazing.
I was totally hooked. And so I thought, can I do that again? Can I build another one, or how many can I build? And so I started ordering more parts. And next thing I know, I was like, well, maybe I could sell these. And so the first iteration of it was I was going to a couple of music shops in the local area over in Santa Monica and West Side, and just walk in and be like, hey, do you guys want to sell my pedals? And so a couple shops were like, yeah, sure. So I was on consignment for a while.
Oh, that's so cool.
And yeah, then it kind of went from there. I mean, there's been a couple changes over the years of things, but and my focus and everything. But yeah, that's kind of in a nutshell.
Okay. So 2006, that was kind of the boutique pedal golden era almost. I mean, were you aware of all of the other builders that were?
I was not. At the time, like Analog Man, he was doing his thing.
Yeah.
And he was like one of the first boutique pedal guys that I knew of. And to me, he was doing it, and he was.
Yeah.
So I had no idea. I mean, because when I first started building the pedals, I was just doing it because I wanted to figure out how it worked. And also I thought it was like, well, I can build this pedal for a lot cheaper than I can buy it for too. So that was kind of intriguing. And just wanted to, learn the whole craft. So slowly over time, but then, yeah, I just fell in love with it.
That's great. Yeah. So your first delay pedal worked. And I'm sure that every pedal since has just worked, right?
No, I wish. Actually, you know what? No, I take that back. I learned from those mistakes. So, I mean, in a perfect world, yeah, I mean, you'd want them to work every time.
Yeah.
But then what fun is that? Because I've learned so much from all the failures, and I still fail and learn from those. I'm always tweaking. I'm always kind of just trying to do it better. I want to evolve. Like every pedal is sort of just an evolution of my craft.
Yeah.
And over the years, it's definitely changed a lot.
What are some things early on that you figured out as far as debugging some of the issues that you came across? I mean, did you learn about audio probes or anything like that back then? Or
I did. Audio probes kind of came later for me as far as learning. And I found forums. That was like my big sort of helpful tool, was discovering the community of pedal builders that were also trying to figure it out like me, and sourcing parts. That was a huge thing back then. There was no amplified parts, or
you could probably still go to Radio Shack, right? I mean,
yeah, my local Radio Shack. I loved my local Radio Shack. So it was hard to source parts. It was hard to the internet was different. There was less resources. So the forums were the way to go. That's where I really figured out, okay, I could talk to the community and ask questions. But then it was I didn't know what questions to ask. I didn't know how to form the questions. So that took me time. So it was a whole skill set I had to learn. So yeah, it took a while.
Crazy. Well, it's been almost 20 years since then. Well, let me stay back there for a little bit. You took your pedals to some local shops. Were you putting effort into or thinking about the aesthetic of the enclosures for your pedals at that time?
It was. I was doing water slide decals at the time.
Okay.
And I learned about using a toaster oven to bake enclosures, like when you paint them with rattle can paints. So I learned about that. I bought a toaster oven. I found a really nice automotive enamel gloss paint to spray over the top. So I was buying the enclosures pre-powder coated from a company back then. It was called Pedal Parts, I believe was the name of it. And they used to sell individually powder coated pedals. Now I think they do large batches, and that's the only way you can get them. So I'd buy them, and then on my computer, I would design the logo, whatever I wanted. And then a lot of guys do that now, the water slide decal, and they spray a top coat. Yeah. And then you have to bake it, or you let it, just cure over time, which takes forever. But yeah, so I was doing like logos. I was doing just sort of designing. And my old logo was a script logo, kind of like the old Phase 90s, that style, because I didn't have any cool designing software then. And I don't now either. My logo, I had a graphic designer make that for me. So whatever I could do on my computer, basically.
Great.
And printed it out. And I came up with packaging and finding the boxes to put them in. And I was also putting them in, I still do it. I put them in a black sort of velvet pouch. And I was doing that way back in 2006.
Wow.
And I see guys do that now. And I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. And I'm sure I was not the first one to do it. I probably saw somebody else do it.
Right.
And I was like, that's cool. I'm going to try that.
That's awesome. So this many years later, I'm assuming that not only your process has changed quite significantly, but we can see that the aesthetic of your pedals is very consistent. You put out pedals that, aside from case types, they look very similar and can be set up next to each other. You can tell it's from a single builder. And likewise, the insides are just immaculate. I mean,
oh, thank you.
Explain how you got from 2006 making this delay pedal out of a kit to now creating your own turret boards and doing everything yourself.
So over that course of time, was from 2006 up to about 2018. I took a little bit of a break from the pedal building for a minute. Life stuff was going on, and I was just really busy with other things, and I kind of put it on the back burner. So, and that was probably about 2009 or 10 when I kind of put it on hold. And then around 2018, I was like, I want to revive Brenya FX and get back into it. And so I started tinkering again. I set my bench up, and I was on Instagram discovering all these great pedal builders.
Yeah.
And I came across some like hand-wired amp designs that were turret board. I saw some pedal builders also doing turret board stuff, and I thought, that is amazing. I fell in love with it right away. I thought the simplicity of the design, they were unique. Just the whole point-to-point thing, I thought was really cool, that vintage style. So I did a deep dive into it and just started figuring it out and figuring out what tools I needed, what's the process. And then my first turret board build was actually a muff, which was kind of a big, something pretty big to take on for a first turret board. Well, actually, my second. First one was a Mark II Fuzz.
Okay.
But my first big turret board was the muff. And I came up with my own layout and just went for it. I wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to see, can I fit a muff circuit on a turret board? And can I fit it in an enclosure that's not like just monstrous and ridiculously large? And I think the first enclosure I put it in was a little bigger than the normal ones I use, but not much. I think it was a 1590, I don't know, DD something. I forget what it was.
Yeah. Okay. And I want to reiterate that you're even making the turret boards and designing them from the ground up. Can you take us a little through that process of what it takes to actually not just design the circuit, but design the hardware that it goes on as well?
Well, yeah, you have to. I mean, if you're going to design your own, I mean, the way I do it anyways, I mean, I can show you because I'm working on some right now. But these are the big muffs. This is going to be a big muff. I've only got a couple parts there now. And then you can see the back. That's all the hidden wiring that goes into it. Yeah. But to make these, I mean, I come up with the layout, and then I have to set all these turrets with a turret setter, and I use my bench press to do that. When I was first doing these, I was setting them by hand with a hammer and just trying to be really careful hammering them down with the turret setter.
Yeah.
A pain in the butt. So yeah, I graduated to a bench press and figured out how to do it on there. But it's a lot of work, from concept of design to taking the schematic and translating that into a layout. I'm very obsessed with that. I love it. It's the art form for me of it. Is I'm always looking at, I have a binder full of all my designs, which are basically, I find there's a pedal I want to build, I'll find the schematic, and then I'll just get a piece of paper and I go, okay, how would this work in a point-to-point turret layout setting? Yeah. And I always like it to be symmetrical if I can. I have a certain style I've developed where I kind of like start and go kind of from left to right with signal flow and all that kind of stuff, kind of as it looks on a schematic in some way. It takes a while. These things, I don't even know how many hours I put into these, but probably more than I can count.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the first time I ever saw the vintage metal can op amp, right, with the legs coming out, I mean, the symmetrical star shape in the center of your board, I was just like, that is one of the most incredible things I've ever seen. Yeah, that was the rat pedal I did like that. Yeah. And then I did an MXR Distortion Plus style clone, kind of, so to speak.
Yeah. I wanted that op amp to be right in the middle. It had to be in the middle.
Yeah.
I don't want it off the side or in the corner. Like, I want that to be the centerpiece, and then I'm going to work around it. But I also got to make sure that I'm making use of all the space as much as possible. I don't like to have any, if I can help it, I'd like to have any sort of dead space where it's just like not being used, because it's limited what you can, your size. So you got to really take advantage of it.
Yeah. So after all of this time, are there any processes that you've had to maybe forget and relearn, or any things that you've come up with that makes your process easier? I know this turret board process is the second half of your career in a way, but just in general, reading schematics or translating them to the turret board or anything like that, have you learned anything that's made that easier for you?
That was a process, learning to read schematics, because understanding what the symbols mean and just understanding what it all means. The big thing, and I see a lot of people beginning pedal builders on forums asking, they'll get like a Vero layout. It's a picture and they want to build it. And they're like, well, where does everything connect to? And I was the same way. I was like, how do you connect it to a foot switch?
Yeah.
It's like, so over time, you do it enough. Like now I can hook up a foot switch without looking at anything. Of course, I've done enough of them. Like just, okay, this goes here, this goes there. It's like second nature. But with schematics, that took a while for me to really kind of grasp it. And what really, I think for me, what helped me was doing breadboarding. That's where I was able to really put like the schematic and put it into concept of so I'm following, this line to this part, and this is on the breadboard now, and that resembles this. And that's where all the pieces started coming together. It was when I was learning the breadboard. And it was opening up doors for me to experiment. Whereas before I was breadboarding, experimenting was really difficult, because I'd have to solder a part in or put a socket in there and temporarily do it and swap it out. It was kind of a pain in the butt. But now I have these kind of things now, which are just things that I've built to make the testing process easier. And this is for a Mark 1. Oh, no, sorry. This is the Mark 2.
Okay.
This is the Mark 2. But having a rig or a jig or whatever to build on is really helpful as well.
Yeah, that's great. Well, throughout your journey, was there any moment or circuit where you finally looked down at what you were building and said, aha, I know what I'm doing, or I'm inspired to take this into realms that aren't just from the schematic. I know how to mod it. I know how to create new tones with it. Was there some moment like that in your career?
I think there was many, many moments of that. And I can't pinpoint when those moments began, but I think a lot of had to do with the pedal community and sharing information and going on the forums, because people on the forums are great. For the most part, everybody in the pedal community are just amazing people and are willing to share information. So people would talk about hey, I did this mod, or I did this. And I think my first one was the DS1 that I modded. I think it was this one. Yeah. And I took it apart and figured out how to change the clipping section on it. And I did some other mod on it. I can't remember what it was, but I think I read about it somewhere in a forum or in a magazine or something. I don't know. Yeah. And so the modding side of things was where I gained a skill set of how to actually take a circuit and then make it my own. Which is kind of my thing. I mean, I'm not here to say I'm inventing the wheel on anything. I'm just doing my spin on things.
Yeah.
I would, at some point in my career, love to design something that's completely new. I don't feel like I'm there yet.
Yeah.
But it'll happen at some point, I think.
That's great.
But it's it's very, pedal building is modular and circuits in general. So we're taking all of these different fundamental components and we're putting them together in like a puzzle to make something. And they all work together to get the final outcome you want. Yeah. And depending on how you arrange them or what you put in will define what it sounds like. So learning those building blocks is really important.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
Yeah. It's never ending. I never stop loving it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, what's in the future for Brand New Effects?
That's a good question. Build more pedals. It's a very slow process for me because I do have a full-time job. I have the day job and I have a family. And then those two things take up the majority of my time.
Yeah.
So I feel like the evolution of Brand New Effects is in a very slow pace, which I'm okay with because I get to do things my way on my time and the way I want. And I love that. And that's I don't want it to ever stop being fun.
That's great.
And the fact that I can make something from almost nothing or just from a bunch of parts and make it sound the way I want it to, and then sell it to someone and then someone gets excited about it, that's the coolest thing ever. So I think I'm getting a little older and I'm not ready to retire, but when I do, I'm kind of in the back burner. My plan is to go full speed ahead into it.
Yeah.
And at that point, take it to a full-time gig. because I'm just doing it on my own time still, but it's like my thing. I don't know. I'm always trying to evolve and bend the envelope a little bit, push the envelope.
Awesome.
But yeah, so.
Well, hey, it's been so good talking to you today, Erik.
Thank you. It's been great talking to you, Tim.
And thanks everyone for watching. If you enjoyed the conversation, stick around. More interviews are on the way where I'll keep exploring all the things that define why we do what we do. Thanks a lot, Erik.
Thanks, Tim.